Alright guys, right now we're going to do part 2 of how to stream. I'm going to talk about basic equipment. As you can see, I have my main monitor up with some pages going on here. So let's get into this. One of the things I'm going to just say is if you're streaming, like I said in the last one, you really need to, let me adjust you guys down a little bit, there we go. You really need to just get into the swing of it, see if you enjoy it. You really don't want to just go spend a bunch of money on equipment and computer parts and everything. That's not going to help you, want to achieve the goal anymore. A lot of people get into it and just realize how much work it actually is, and then just go, I don't want to do it anymore. But then you spend all this money on this stuff. So here's what I'm going to recommend. If you have a gaming headset or regular headphones, gaming headset, the best ones I will tell you to get are ones like this, like the Cloud 2s. They have a built-in sort of like USB sound card. That's your best thing, because plug-in mics can be really terrible on certain motherboards. Some motherboard plugins are just terrible. So something like the Cloud 2s, if you can get them for cheap, they have a USB plug-in, and that's a good headset if you want to start out with it. The audio is pretty decent on the mic on that. But once you start getting into more expensive things, there's other alternatives. Now, if you have headphones and you don't have a headset, you can just go pick something up like the Antlion ModMic 5, and that'll do a good job. It's got both omnidirectional and cardioid mode. So omnidirectional is going to sound more full, but it picks up more room noise and whatnot. Cardioid's more like this microphone. Like if I click up here or click back here, you can hear like on the back of the microphone, you can't hear as much. It's kind of canceling out that audio. So that's another way to go. But with this, it's the thing I don't like about the ModMic 5 is it's got a lot of points where it breaks off, and that introduces a lot more areas where there's interference, and introduces a lot more areas where it could be static picked up, and then by itself it just plugs in analog, and it's depending on your motherboard audio. Antlion does make like a little USB plug-in that you can get to plug in. I'll put a link for that down below along with all this other stuff. But let's see, if you just know that you want that full sound, you don't have anybody else living with you or anything like that can make any noise, or cats or anything like that, and the omnidirectional, I'd almost say get the 4.0 omnidirectional, because that way there's not like those multiple breaks in it, so you don't have to worry about like multiple points of interference or anything like that. Moving on down, say you're still not sure but you need a decent microphone, another good solution is this one. This is the Blue Snowflake USB. I know quite a few people use this. It just typically clips onto something. It's a little USB microphone, and it sounds pretty decent, but it's not expensive. I've seen this thing go down as low as like 30 bucks before on sale, so you might be able to find it somewhere in your neighborhood for cheap or whatnot. Now, once we start getting into the more expensive microphones, say you're sure you want to do this and you want to spend the money, okay? A good one to look at is the Audio-Technica AT2020. All the mics I'm going to recommend are USB mics, because they just plug into your computer. The audio's good. You might have to mess with the gain and stuff on them, but at the end of the day, it takes a lot less investment on you to get good audio out of these. You can get into mix amps and all that stuff, but at that point you're on the professional level, so this is just to get you started out. Another one to look at is the Blue Snowball. Now, a lot of people are like, they don't like this one because it picks up a lot of background noise. What I've noticed with this one is you got to kind of mess around with the Windows gain and stuff, because if you let the gain go too high on it, it will pick everything up. So it's like finding like a good balance. And these microphones are good, but what I would recommend with these is get a pop filter. So let's say I had a pop filter on here. So there's a pop filter at Monoprice for $7, and you put that on front of your Snowflake, and you can have it real close to your face, okay, when you talk, so that way you can have the gain down and you just can get right up on that microphone, and it's going to sound really good. But in my opinion, it's a good microphone, but you have to realize what its limitations and stuff are. And for $45, it's not that bad. Alright, now the one everybody goes to is the Blue Yeti. Reason being is it has gain built onto it, so you can mess with the gain there. It is monitoring There's different modes. You can actually set this up in cardioid, stereo. I think it's got like a omnidirectional mode, so if you want to sit it down and like, you know, record like a group of people or something like that. So it's a very versatile microphone. It's a good microphone. But the problem with it is it needs to be, if you need to put it on a mount, it's a really heavy microphone for one, so you have to have a pretty sturdy mount. Two, it's another thing nice about it, it's got a built-in mute button, because a lot of these other ones don't have that. You have to do it through the system, which is kind of a pain, or your recording software. But anyways, it is a good microphone, but getting it hooked up to a good stand, you know, you're going to need sometimes a pretty pricey stand that's going to be able to hold the weight up of this thing, so that is one thing there. So the one I'm using right now, this is it right here. This is the Monoprice large diaphragm condenser USB microphone. That's a mouthful, isn't it? So you guys can hear what it sounds like right now. It is a USB mic. It comes with these, so you can see there's the bottom there. And it comes with this little hookup. The only thing I complain about really is this is plastic, where this is kind of metal. And this part here actually, after enough use, has worn down and stripped on me. So I have like an actual screw in there now to hold it in place. It's kind of ghetto looking, but it's a good microphone. It comes with an awesome desk stand by itself. It's like a big metal desk stand. It's got like nice padding on the bottom to help isolate it, so if you're just gonna stick it on the desk, you're fine there. But if you want to like get a microphone stand, this is the one I currently use. It's a $10 Monoprice microphone. I've had it for almost a year and a half now, and it's held up really nice. I can tell that this thing will eventually probably get to the point where I'm just going to have to replace it after a couple of years, but for a $10, $11 at a pop, it's perfectly fine to me. It gets a lot of use pretty much like every day. Once again, if you want to get rid of those S's and pops and stuff like that from the P's, and this is something I should follow my own advice on, here's a pop filter. You just stick it in front of your microphone, it gets rid of that, and your recordings come off a lot better. Now, let's talk about video. Now, this is something that's even more important than audio to me. Like, if you're on Twitch and you've got a good microphone on your headset or something, perfect. That's, for starting out, that's great. But I see a lot of Twitch streams, and it's just the gameplay. There's no person on the screen themselves. And I think having somebody actually in the corner somewhere on screen or something is an important thing, because that helps you. Just like if you're talking to somebody, imagine going through your whole life and being like almost blind, and you don't know what the person looks like or what their reactions are talking to you when you're in the middle of a conversation. It's very much like talking to somebody on chat on the internet. Sometimes you can't tell if people are being sarcastic because you're not getting that good read that you would off of them. So I think like bringing out the personality, like Twitch streaming has always been about the personality behind it, right? It's so to get to know that person, you really should have a camera. So if you're starting out, here's a good one. This is a Logitech C270. It is only a 720/30 webcam, but it's decent quality. Actually, when I got this originally a couple years back, I had friends say how good the quality was for the camera it was. If you're starting out, this is fine. You're going to be in a low window when you're gaming, and 9 times out of 10 when you're gaming, you're going to be doing it at 720 if you want to keep like the audience retention or whatnot there. So this is a good mic to start out with if you have nothing else to go with, and it's not uber expensive. Now moving up, we got this guy. This is the Logitech HD Pro C920. This is what I have. This is what even like YouTubers like Kyle and stuff have. There's people that built their entire YouTube site just off of this webcam. It is a 1080/30 webcam. It's a very good quality webcam. Now, the thing I will tell you about it is this camera likes to have a lot of light thrown at it. And the more light you throw onto the subject or on the face, like right now, if like you look at this, look at the image difference. Like, okay, I don't look super blown out because I'm not using a light source. Like, if I was in a better place, I would have lighting. But anyways, it's another story. You can see like once you have a lot of light on the subject, everything kind of like almost is like sharper in a weird way. So this is one way to go. Now, when you start getting to like a professional level, you're not going to be using webcams anymore. Say you really start building up your viewership, you're going to start getting to the point where you're using a camcorder that's going to HDMI to a capture card and through USB, or on a capture card that's on PCI on your computer. So, but a lot of people still use this, still good quality. And so if you can swing the cash, it's not super expensive now. It's like $58. You can get this. Now, if 60 frames a second is important to you, if you want your image to match the content that you're capturing, say you're streaming at 60 and you don't want that like offset there because it looks weird or whatnot to you, you can go this route for a little bit more money. This is the Logitech C922. This is basically an updated version of this. I hear it looks a little clearer in 1080, but I don't think anybody's going to notice on YouTube and stuff because it's just after the encoding and all that, it's going to be kind of, you know. But this will do 720/60. So me personally, I like having a camera at 1080 and then scaling that down, but here you guys go right here. All right, now this is a step that I'm looking to get into right here. This is an expensive step. This is Logitech's new camera for $200. It is not cheap, but this thing's awesome. It is 4K, so when you scale that image down from like a 4K image down, it's going to be really sharp. Even if you're like doing a 1080 video, if you're recording at 4K 30 and say you're doing 1080 content at 30, your image should still be relatively sharp. It should look pretty good. And typically when you're shooting at a higher resolution, these cameras will tend to do a higher bit rate. So that's why I tend to go for like that kind of stuff. The other thing that's nice about this is it has high dynamic range. What that means is basically every frame that it's taking of video, it's taking a low exposure and a high exposure image, and then it's merging those two together to get the best exposure overall. This essentially is really nice for people like me. So the reason I don't have a lot of good lighting equipment on me is when I do stuff like gaming or streaming, I get headaches really bad. I'm really light sensitive. I'll get migraines and stuff, and like the monitors are bad enough, right? So for me, that's one of the reasons I don't like to do lighting. Now, if you do green screens and stuff, you're going to need lighting out the wazoo. You're going to need, you know, for yourself, and you should really backlight the green screen because it helps cut out the edging around the subject that you're trying to, you know, chroma key out. So, but for me, this HDR is going to ensure that I have a better chance of being seen and the image looks better without having to have a whole bunch of lighting. So this by itself, I really want to get this. I have a donation up right now, donation goal going on my stream over at Cell Processing on Twitch. And if I reach it, I will end up getting one of these and reviewing it. But right now, what I'm hearing is pretty positive on it. Now let's talk about lighting. Now here's some lighting here. This is $35. It's just a soft box with a CFL bulb in it and a floor stand. You can go to this basic. Basically, softbox is just, you know, a box with like a cover on it so the light's not like hitting like one area, so you're not getting like that weird shine on somebody's face or something like that. It's diffusing the light. They make them as nice as LEDs, and you need a drink of water. But they make them as nice as LEDs, and you can just go about it that route, right? So another thing you can do is you can just go to Home Depot, and this is a trick somebody taught me. Get one of those clamp-on lights. Get like a cheap LED bulb, like a 6500 Kelvin LED bulb, and some eggshell white paint, and just paint the inside, and that'll help diffuse that light a little bit. So that's the way to go. I actually have a desk lamp that I can put on my face for videos if I want to make it look a little bit sharper. But as your career goes on, as you gain more followers, more subs on YouTube, if that's your thing, and go on, you're going to want to keep continuously upgrading your equipment, you know, green screens, new cameras and stuff, and you're going to move beyond this webcam stuff. You're going to go to like I said, camcorders, professional lighting, maybe even something like professional cameras and stuff like that. So, but this is just to get you guys started to where you need to go. So if you guys have any questions, hit me up in the comments down below. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and yeah, I will see you guys later. I'm going to be doing another video today that's actually going to be live, and I'll be tweeting about that shortly once I get this done. But yeah, later guys.